like spoonfuls of horseradish. Oh, look, it's mid-April. Typically the least exciting time of the year in terms of large events happening in the game industry. Because there really aren't any. It's gone all quiet because it's that pre-E3 thing. And, the games are kind of trickling out. But one thing is coming out this week. I've talked about it before, but since it's coming out now on the 360, I'll talk about it again. Witcher 2 Assassins of Kings. I think that's the name of it for the 360. I've completely forgotten. I've seen a bit of it, and first off, it is sort of something of a technical marvel that this game that was a PC game that's absolutely gorgeous on the PC, and to get that gorgeous, you need some pretty advanced hardware to pull that off. That, while maybe not at the ultra setting of it, it looks really good on the 360, and some people have mentioned, I think it's very fair to say that, this is a sense of what the standard might be for the next generation of consoles, released in the first couple of years of it. But I wanted to discuss the game because it is not just because of how good it looks that is worthy of note. It's an RPG that comes from CD Projekt Red, who are based out in Poland, and The Witcher is an incredibly successful series of fantasy novels inside of Poland. And here you have this thing that's been happening inside this one country in Eastern Europe that is almost like, it's fanatical. I think one of the famous stories is that Obama was actually presented a copy of The Witcher 2 for PC by the president of Poland when he did a diplomatic visit there 2 years ago. No, last year. It's once again, just to help illustrate just how popular it is. But what's really neat is I love this game so much, and I really did like the first one as well, though the second one is leaps and bounds better in terms of its gameplay, its storytelling, and everything, is that it feels so different. It's an RPG. It uses, you don't have to learn too much to figure out how it plays, but it just has a richness in a sense that it does come from somewhere slightly different. It doesn't have the very American flavor, it doesn't have the Western European flavor, and it definitely doesn't have the Japanese flavor. And it's got something that's mature, something that's darker, and it deals with what you feel are certain social issues that, while not unique to Poland, are definitely through the lens of certain histories and current agendas that have to be dealt with in that country. The main character of Geralt, who is a witcher, who kills monsters, and he's not exactly human, even though he kind of behaves as human, is just a nice, nuanced character who, he's pretty much a good guy. He just doesn't do good things. But when it comes to how you make decisions in the game, it's not as pervasive as, say, a game like Mass Effect. But the decisions tend to look like maybe there's a good and a bad, maybe a right and a wrong. And it tends to be just different shades of horrible. And you'll see that probably within the first 7 hours of the game, and you have many instances of that going on. And it is maybe vaguely nihilistic, but anyone who's a fan of Game of Thrones right now shouldn't be able to have an issue with that. But at the end of the day, it just feels very, very adult. And not just because there's sex in the game, and it's sex without novelty, and it's sex where people seem to be comfortable taking their clothes off, but it just seems to assume that the person playing it is an adult and understands the complexity of making decisions and how those things may play out later on, and that the world just isn't a very, very nice place, and that you sort of need to carve your path through it. And I really have to recommend it. This reminds me of some comments my family has made. My father's side of the family, we're definitely a Semitic diaspora throughout all of Eastern Europe, Romania, Hungary, Germany, Slovakia, Czech Republic. Well, back then it was Czechoslovakia. Really, it was just kind of the Austro-Hungarian Empire back then. But if you've ever dealt with that part of the world, the cuisine tends to lend itself towards the bitter. And ever since I was a child, I really, really, really liked horseradish. I liked spoonfuls of horseradish because there's something very satisfying and very comforting about that bitter. And I have to say, I think Witcher 2 does that perfectly.